Because boxing now is 99% trainers and 1% or less teachers.
What did Bernard Hopkins mean by that? What is the difference between a trainer and a teacher? In order to be a teacher, you must have more than just an understanding of the X's and O's. You have to understand the mental. Listen to what Emmanuel Stewart had to say about tall guys. And mind you, he trained tall guys throughout his whole career.
Most heavyweights, they have big bodies but very small hearts.
Now, like I said, Emmanuel Stewart trained Vladimir Klitschko. Tall heavyweights was his favorite choice of fighter, and he knew this. He was aware of this. Why isn't Anthony Joshua's trainers aware of the same thing? Anthony Joshua tips off before the fight whether he's really going to go in there and show his dog or not. In the first Andy Ruiz fight, what did he do? He looked at Andy Ruiz and he shook his hand, letting us know what type of fight it was going to be, because he didn't do it for the second Ruiz fight. If you go back and look, he actually talked stuff to him and he did not shake his hand. But look, does this look familiar to you guys? It's deja vu all over again. Shook his hand, smiled at him. This clip gives me vibes of when he let Andy Ruiz walk around with the belts and said, "Look at him, y'all." I think the pressure is beginning to be too much for AJ, and he's letting us know before the fights and after the fights that it's being too much for him. Listen to this clip.
Ukraine, probably less people, like fighting here in front of so many people. It's not easy, you know. But my career,
I can only imagine.
Boy, I'm telling you, like that mental pressure. But it's fine. Like, Vegas, Ukraine, I'm easy anyway. There's probably no bigger pressure than what I go through.
Yeah, we got to see you back in the States.
Yeah, 100%. All good timing. I'll fight anywhere. I fought Saudi, I fought States.
Like I said, the pressure is beginning to be too much for AJ. And when it gets to that point, what do you think fighters do? They want something to lean on, some strong personality to attach themselves to feel comfortable in the ring. And AJ doesn't have that. You know, his corner doesn't really tell him to make adjustments. Now, I will give them credit for this. In the Ruiz fight, when I went back and watched it, they told him he got caught with a left hook to stop hooking, but he went right back in there and started hooking, which means he doesn't respect them. They can't command his respect. At this point in his career, he needs somebody like a Teddy Atlas, a John David Jackson, or go to the Crunk Gym. I even heard him talking about getting a knockout like the Crunk days. Go to the Crunk Gym. But this is definitely on his team. First off, Usyk came in heavier than he's ever came in during the weigh-in, which lets you know he's not going to run from you. He's going to stand right in front of you. So AJ's people knew exactly where Usyk would be, and they didn't adjust the game plan at all. That's the difference between a trainer and a teacher. A teacher can adjust on the fly. A trainer is just all X's and O's. They can only tell you how to beat somebody. If that game plan doesn't work, they don't throw it out the window. You go to the corner and they keep trying to force you to do the same game plan and everything that y'all worked on. That's the difference. AJ needs a teacher. They didn't even tell AJ when he came to the corner in this fight that he was down and he needed a knockout to win. No sense of urgency at all. Not to mention, they had AJ come in really, really light and possibly overtrained for the fight, because AJ said he was doing mental training. And I'm like, what was he meditating? How did he lose all that weight if he was just meditating? And the funny thing is, his trainers instilled in him so much about, stamina, longevity, mental training and stuff like this, that AJ didn't go in for the kill. A lot of people think it's because he didn't have killer instincts, but we seen in the Klitschko fight, AJ's a good finisher. In order to be a good finisher, you have to have killer instincts. So that's not the problem. The problem is the game plan. Like I said, he's vulnerable with the pressure and he's leaning on his corner, and their game plan was to go 12 rounds. So AJ felt accomplished. If you don't believe me, listen to this.
True for this fight. I'm fighting a guy who's a 12-round fighter. Do you know what I mean? So it would be silly of me to go in there bulky.
That's before the fight. This is after the fight.
It's good to go to 12 rounds. There was always that question around the stamina. So it was nice. Huh? Yeah, so it was good to get the 12 rounds in. Yeah. So it's like a good 12 rounder against someone that's lighter. I feel like if it's normal, fully blown heavyweight, they probably wouldn't last the full distance. But Usyk done well with his movement and like the eye as well.
Not only did Usyk tell you his game plan by coming in heavy, and AJ tell you his by coming in light. But they also had a horrible battle plan. For those who don't understand what I was saying in my breakdown, there's 4 ranges. There's a lot of trainers will have difference of opinions about how many ranges there are, but it just depends on the teacher. I was taught there's 4 ranges. And Usyk was deadly at the mid-range and the long range because he dictated the pace of the fight. And AJ's game plan was to box Usyk at his strength and win on a decision. He gave Usyk just the range he needed. Outside range is what Muhammad Ali used, where you use it with your feet, where neither fighter can touch neither one, and you just keep them turning. A lot of fighters do it whenever they're hurt in a fight. Long range is what Vladimir Klitschko used, where you keep them at the end of the jab. Mid-range is where both of you fighters could hit each other. Both fighters could hit each other, the short one and the tall one. Close is where you're in the mid-range and you lean in close before you throw your shots, which is what Usyk is doing here. And inside speaks for itself. I mean, they call it phone booth warfare, where you're inside, you're weaving from side to side like Mike Tyson, et cetera, et cetera. Right here, Usyk is in the mid-range, but he leads in close, and that's close range, and he could hit Anthony Joshua with a body shot. At the long and mid-range, Usyk was very effective because he was countering over the top of Anthony Joshua's jab from the long range, and then from the mid-range, he was just picking them apart. You know, you can't give fighters like him time to think, which I said was a bad strategy on Anthony Joshua's corner's behalf. You got a sense that the fight was over when Anthony Joshua didn't throw his money punch, which is his right uppercut. Right here, he had a perfect opportunity, and he didn't do it. Usyk also exposed 2 other flaws in AJ. He's not good in transition, meaning he can't transition good from offense to defense. Right here, he's at the long range, sticks the jab up. Usyk comes over the top of the jab and jabs AJ. Here, AJ gets close before he throws his shot, and then Usyk throws a counter left but misses and then just pivots and restarts. Like I said, AJ had success when he got close. Like there, when he leans in before he throws his shot. Right here, he leans in, Usyk gets uncomfortable, doesn't want him there, and throws a jab, and AJ counters with a left hook and rocks Usyk. And while he's off balance, he follows up by hitting him with a right hand. See, this is smart boxing, throwing in combinations, using your combinations to lead into the big punch. That's smart boxing. Notice the pace of the fight when AJ gets close before he throws his shots. He pushes Usyk back to the ropes. Usyk's not comfortable without that space. He needs that space to think. Right here, AJ gets close and throws a right hook and hurts Usyk. The best punch he lands of the fight. And let me tell you what AJ's thinking. This is why it's good to have a teacher in your corner instead of a trainer.
It's good to go to 12 rounds. There was always that question around the stamina. So it's nice. Huh?
So the people who question the dog in AJ, it ain't that. He was just executing his game plan. I want you to notice something here. AJ's leery about his stamina, but his instincts take over just a tad bit and he cuts the ring off. Something he didn't do the whole fight. Go back and look at the fight. He follows Usyk around the ring, only moving to his left. He didn't move to his right one time, but when he has him hurt, he does it. Look right here. AJ gets close, creates the anxiety in Usyk. Usyk's not comfortable. AJ sung a wild left hook there and noticed that Usyk didn't counter. He didn't do anything until he got to a comfortable range, and then he caught AJ's jab. I've only seen AJ do this twice this whole fight. Watch here. Usyk tries to go to his right. AJ and him are still out of range. They can't hit each other. And what does he do? AJ goes to his left, cuts the ring off, and forces Usyk to his left. He didn't do that the whole fight. That's why Usyk was just comfortable doing basically what he wanted to do. Now, to the people that saying AJ's a hype job, if AJ's a hype job, what does that make Usyk for beating him? I mean, you people make no sense. AJ is a good champion. I mean, he even made adjustments during the fight without his corner's help. Usyk kept leaning to the side, outside the foot, and landing a straight left. So what does AJ do? He picked up and started landing that same punch on Usyk. Right here, he jabs. Usyk gets uncomfortable, backs up, and then AJ slips his jab and then counters with a right hand. Now, if it should be a rematch or not, I'm going to leave you guys with these jewels.
Or Bernard Hopkins here, and even the physical, because I took care of my temple. They on the floor after the fight tonight, most of them, at a club somewhere. I'm in a hot tub or in a bathtub, no matter how many rounds the fight went, in my suite. That's the difference between longevity of resting, taking care of your body. Because even though you knocked that guy out in the first round, what about the 9 weeks of trauma, of training and sparring, hundreds of rounds? What about that rest? Oh, I didn't think of that, Bernard. I didn't think about the sparring part. I just thought about me fighting when I get in the ring. As long as I'm okay, I'm okay. Nah, man, you went through 9 weeks of training with different guys banging on you. You going 10 rounds and 8 rounds, and you doing this at least 3 days a week. No, 3 days a week. Normally people spar. I train with my moms Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. What about that trauma year after year after year after year after year after year after year? Nobody never told them. Because boxing now is 99% trainers and 1% or less teachers.
With all that being said, my synopsis is I think Anthony Joshua in this point in his career needs to go out and find a teacher. The whole point of the video. His trainer may be a good trainer, well renowned, but he's only going to cover the X's and O's. And if Anthony Joshua wants to take his career to the next level, he needs a teacher like Teddy Atlas, Freddie Roach. I get it. I understand you want to be loyal, but this is about legacy. Your legacy is going to be here when you leave Earth. And your trainer has already been elevated just because of you, and he's going to train fighters after you, and what you're doing now is set in stone. And not to mention, trainers will work with your trainer. The only one that won't do it is Teddy Atlas. So if you go to him, he won't do it. But the rest of the trainers will be willing to work with your guy and help take your career to the next level. Let me say another thing. I don't get paid for my channel. That's why you guys never see commercials on my channel. It's not monetized. I don't shield for any fighter. I tell the truth based off of my what I see, my expertise, experience in boxing, and I come up with a conclusion. My favorite fighter today is Dillian Whyte. You've never seen any videos on Dillian Whyte. I've only posted one, and that video was taken down because the zone flags. I hope I don't get flagged for this one, but I was just saying all that to say this because I've heard people say that Usyk could beat Tyson Fury. Are you serious? Tyson Fury has a good experienced corner, and he's really strong-minded, and he's way longer than Usyk. Tyson Fury would destroy Usyk. Today I'm going to send you guys out with something different because I felt like a small adjustment that AJ should have had in the fight was foot placement, and he couldn't even do that because he was moving in one direction. This is why he should go get a teacher like Freddie Roach. Listen to Mr. Freddie Roach drop some jewels on you guys. But anyway,
he was able to land the right hand because, again, the left foot is outside of Manny's right foot, correct?
This is fight with the gloves. I fight with the foot too. I need to my foot. I
establish the outside position with your lead foot.
Yes.
Whoever who get first here has advantage.
Here the right hand lands, and it was landing with a lot of frequency there because, as you mentioned, he established outside position with his left foot.
Go first here.
I looking for my look. Sacarlo.
Can you make that step and show me what Manny needs to do? Make that step again.
Yes.
Okay.
There. Nullify it.
Let's see. Can you throw the right hand?
And he comes over the top here.
Yes. With the left hand.
Yes.
Would you mind? Show me Freddie in this position. Yeah. They were like this. And Marquez had just landed a right hand, right? If he just threw it, and Manny gets hit with it. Why is Manny getting hit with this right hand?
Because he has his foot on the outside, and when Manny jabs, he comes right down the middle with this shot here. And Manny goes over his shoulder.
And how do you correct that mistake?
You get your foot on the outside and take that away from him.
So can you show me if he throws the right hand, or where do you want Manny?
If he has his position here, with his foot on the outside, he lands the right hand there. If I take the foot outside here,
Can I see Manny? This is what the people want to see.
if Manny takes his foot outside here, and now he takes that away from him, and now he has this shot here.
Who has the good position is
He's going to land the punch.
gonna land the good punch.